from that ensuing free kick, high tackle, yellow card, that was 10 minutes of sevens done and dusted for me in 2004.
We got contacted by a magazine and we did not know what we were going to expect. Like they said, come over, we'll put some makeup on you, take some photos.
And he was like, listen, I got twins, like good luck with sleeping. He's like, I didn't sleep for months. I was like, well, I'm probably going to find out very soon.
Getting there, I think it was Saturday morning at like 9 a.m. and it was already full. I was like, whoa.
That looks like the Backstreet Boys.
Oh no.
How's it? Harry McNulty here for another episode of HSBC Life on Tour, where we take you in behind the scenes into camp with all the teams throughout the Sevens series. This week we are in my favorite location on tour, the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens, and we are going to be watching, celebrating and playing in the brand new Kai Tak Sports Park. It's going to be an epic weekend, full of wild crowds, amazing rugby, and this week I'm joined by Jeremy Trevithick from Spain and Impi Visser from South Africa. Thank you very much for joining me today, lads. It's a pleasure. How are we feeling? Hong Kong, the buzz?
I mean, it's amazing, man. We've been looking forward to this tournament the whole season. Yeah, I think it's our favourite tournament for the whole team, and especially with this new stadium. I mean, we're buzzing and we're really excited.
It's phenomenal. I love being here in Hong Kong. It's my favorite
crazy
destination. Impi, how do you find it here?
Yeah, pretty excited as well. I think there's a good vibe in the team as well. You can feel the excitement that's building up towards the weekend. And yeah, Hong Kong, it's where it all started for Sevens rugby. So I think everyone's pretty pumped up for this one.
Fantastic. I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant. And with the Spain boys, this season's been going fantastic for you. You've done a lot of history. You're second in the world at the moment. You've been beaten teams that you haven't beaten before, beaten them more times than any other season. What's been the secret sauce, as they say, behind all of this?
I mean, there's probably a lot of stuff we've changed throughout from other years, but I'd say one of the main things we've changed is probably our discipline when it comes to things outside of rugby. I think we are all taking care of our nutrition a lot more. We're resting better. Recovery is a lot better. So not only from us, but from the staff as well. I think they're taking care of stuff they didn't do in the past. Maybe focus on each player a bit more. And I think that just brings the best out of everyone, and that you can see it on the field afterwards.
And big Paul Pla with his 50 caps. You got the T-shirt to show for us.
Good, nice little T-shirt.
How important is he in the squad? I know him personally; he's a great man. But in terms of a team environment, what's he like?
I mean, he's obviously, I would say he's our most important player. I mean, he's the guy in the team with the most experience, and you can really tell when he's on the field. I mean, he sees stuff other players don't see. So yeah, I think that when he's playing with us, he gives us that extra boost of energy and of confidence that I don't think any other player can give.
Fantastic. And Impi, no more Cape Town curse?
Yeah, what is it, 9-10 years?
Something along those lines. It's been a long time.
A little bit of elusive. I think I've lost in the final once or twice and a few semi-finals. So luckily we could get it done last year in Cape Town. But yeah, it's just amazing to be able to put that, as they call it, the curse, behind us. And
because you had Dubai 5 years in a row winning.
Yeah, and it's always like, people are telling us, please don't do too well in Dubai so you can win Cape Town. But it's like, you don't go out just saying, well, we want to win one or the other. It's like you try and win all of them, So yeah, this year obviously Dubai didn't go our way, and then we kind of made up in Cape Town. So
maybe the supporters are right, eh?
maybe someone threw a little bit of magic on there. I don't know. So yeah, but it's good.
And you've been having some immense battles as well. Obviously, the Cape Town curse broken, but then beating Fiji with 6 men, red card.
Yeah, that was quite something. I mean, when that red card happened, I thought to myself, damn, this is going to be really difficult to beat Fiji. I think a lot of teams struggle to beat them with 7 guys, and to be able to do that with 6, I can't really say something specific that was the moment, but I think that moment in the end where the kick was through and it just kind of bounced up perfectly. I think it was just meant to be for us that game. So
yeah, well, it sums up the South African team, just that resilience, that fight, but then you also have the players who it's a great balance, I think, in that team. It's, the strength, the guys up front, but then you've got the guys at the back who have that vision, that last play of the game, down a man, I'm going to chip, kick, chase, and score and win.
Yeah, I think we have probably not the biggest players on seven circuit, so we have to have a good balance of speed and a little bit of power as well. And I think we've got a lot of X factors. So I think other teams also know that we kind of the smaller guys, so they try and target us, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's great to have guys like Selvin Davids, Tristan Lates, Donovan Don. Those guys are just the X factors. So it's great to have them.
They've caused me many headaches, those guys.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And this is the first episode of HSBC Life on Tour. We have two players playing against each other on the weekend. And that's the dynamic of sevens, right? So same hotel, you're eating in the same place. Sometimes training, you have to split a pitch in half or share a bus. What's it like now on a Tuesday afternoon having to sit beside each other? You probably haven't thought about it even, but like explain the dynamic. People don't really understand that, you're not sharing everything. You're sharing absolutely everything when you're on tour. What's that like?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the rugby spirit, isn't it? I mean, on the field, we all have the same goal, which is to win the tournament, win every single game. So I think like we kind of share the same dream. We kind of like we live the same life. So, I mean, after games and before games, we chat to the players quite a lot because we get along with them well. Everyone's very, very educated. They're all very nice people. So it's not very like I find it kind of comfortable living with other players because they're all very, very nice.
Yeah, I think for me, you kind of always see the 15s guys after the games go into each other's cloakrooms and they share beer here and there. But I think for us, it's a different dynamic. You kind of see each other every day and you kind of start to form friendships as well, and you start to have conversations and you learn about each other's lives. And I think that's something that's very different to the 15 setup, is that we can actually get to know each other, even though we don't share the field in terms of being in the same team. Yes, when we're on the field, we want to take each other out, but afterwards and in the hotels, we can have conversations. We can learn about each other's cultures and backgrounds. So that's something that's quite cool.
Yeah, like even the dressing room on match day, there could be 3 teams in a dressing room together, and the result that you take could end up affecting a team sitting across from you in the dressing room. You come back, you're all happy, and they're looking at you like, you really could have helped us out in that one.
That's true. That makes a difference. And also the music that you play can also affect the team that's in the change room with you. So, it's different, the dynamics.
There's a bit of respect back and forth with that. Like the team has a meeting and like the music goes down straight away.
Pause, quiet guys, don't shout, don't whatever. Yeah.
But it's what makes sevens. And I think personally for me as well, I found that by becoming quite friendly with players, it almost made it easier for me to play against what people would see like superstars. Yeah, it's like, I know this guy. I was having lunch with him the other day. Like, he's just another sevens player. Whereas if it's world player of the year, gold medalist, all this type of stuff, you're like, wow, how am I ever going to compete with this guy? Yeah. But then you like sit down and you have a coffee with him, or you sit down at a table and just chat. It's like, oh, okay, we'll see you on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I mean, it's what you said. There are you see players every single day. So when you're watching it from the TV, and then for me, for example, I had my debut last year. I had my debut in Vancouver, and seeing them on the TV, when I got to the hotel, I was like, it was quite big for me, at first. And it's like you said, once you see them every single day, you kind of say, okay, I'm a rugby player, he's a rugby player, we're kind of the same thing. So it does take that pressure off you a bit, as if you didn't see them every day.
Big time. So this weekend, the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens. What does it mean to be playing in this tournament? Because for me, it was the one that I wanted to play in every single year. It has so much history. It's so well supported. The whole city almost shuts down for it. Like, what do you expect in this weekend? Brand new stadium as well, Kai Tak Sports Park.
Yeah, I mean, we're expecting big things. I mean, as I said before, we've been waiting for this tournament throughout the whole season. So, like, especially we visited the new stadium a few days ago, and I mean, it was crazy. It was unbelievable. I mean, the changing rooms are insane. The pitch is insane. You could see the south stand, and you can just imagine how it's going to be. So, yeah, we just know it's going to be really, really good, no doubt.
Yeah, I think just lots of excitement. I think the stadium, as Jeremy said, is probably amazing. Probably be a bit of an upgrade going from the classrooms into a change room. So that'll be quite different. But I think just the whole atmosphere and the vibe surrounding the Hong Kong Sevens is amazing. And, I think it's a tournament everyone wants to win because it's kind of where it all started. So I think everyone's going to be gunning for that number 1 spot.
Then the south stand, It's famous all around the world. I've been in it a few times. I wished I was in it a couple other times. The big talk has always been, is that going to come across from the old stadium, the history that was there? Can they allow it even to replicate itself in the brand new stadium? Do you wish you were up in the South Stand in the first ever series of the new stadium, or no?
I mean, I think personally myself, not too much of a partier, but I'll probably leave it to the younger guys. But I'm sure there will be a couple of guys that want to put their hand up to join the South Stand. Well, whatever stand they want to call it this year. Maybe they'll rename it something else. But
yeah, I definitely would like to. As someone who the first thing I got told before coming to Hong Kong last season was, man, the South Stand is insane. I mean, I remember getting there. I think it was Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and it was already full. I was like, whoa. It obviously is sick to play on the field while having that much atmosphere behind you. There's no doubt that being inside there would be really, really cool as well.
And the city itself is fantastic. Have you had an opportunity to go around the city? Impi, you've obviously been here many times before. Is there places that you enjoy going to, or do you just sit back and relax in the hotel now?
To be honest, Harry, I'm not much of a city guy, so I kind of enjoy being out in the nature areas, but I probably still have to find somewhere nice to go out here. So it's also a little bit of expensive for us South Africans, to go and try out all the restaurants and all that. But yeah, we sometimes do go out into the city just to go see what it's all about. And there's this one specific shop that South Africans like to go through. Guy's name is, we call him Kwesi van der Merwe. He gives us a little Coke and a Fanta, and he has this tiny little shop and he sells us some electronics and pictures all over with some South Africans. So we try and make an effort to go visit him each year.
I need to go. Can you bring
it? Yeah, well, I mean, he tries to get all the electronics, at cost price. So
it's the first I've ever heard of it.
If you need some stuff, we got a contact.
Jeremy, how about yourself? Have you made it into the city much?
Yeah, we have. I mean, having a walk around obviously helps you battle jet lag, because when we get here, the first thing they tell us is try not to fall asleep so you can actually sleep at night. So yeah, having a few strolls in the city is a good idea. But we don't want to go too far, because if you walk too much, you can tie your legs, and then you want to start the tournament as fresh as possible.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the jet lag, it's about 7-8 hours back home for both of you, really. It's close to that?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
6. So is there anything in particular that you would try and do, whether it's pre-flight, during flight, or even here, to try and help battle that? Or are you such a veteran now, Impi, just sleep wherever?
Well, I mean, I just had a baby recently, so I don't sleep much at all anymore. Thank you. But yeah, I think just kind of trying to get into the time zone as quickly as possible. I think the first few nights is always going to be difficult to get into a full sleep routine. But other than that, it's just trying not to sleep as much during the day, especially now. So it's good that we're here, that you're keeping us awake, because otherwise the bed might be very tempting.
Anytime.
But yeah, it's just about in the afternoons, don't take a nap, because that's the time that you'll mess up your sleep schedule for tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Trying not to sleep is probably the best idea. What they do recommend us is the night before we travel, set your clock to the time zone where we are traveling to, so you can start sleeping closer to what you would be sleeping here.
Fresh as the daisy the next day. With the Spanish team,
yeah,
it's like a boy band going around. You've got the mustaches, you've got the hair, you've got the teeth. It's like you've done a pre-season trip to Turkey at one stage.
Yeah, the boys like to take care of themselves, they do.
What's going on there? Like, I love it. I think it brings like a great element to the squad, but was it one guy started to, really showcase himself a little bit more, and everyone's like, I could get a piece of this, or was it just something that you brought together?
Yeah, so last season, when we were preparing for the Madrid tournament, Manu Moreno, he got a viral video of him dancing, Macarena. And from there on, he started getting contacted by a lot of sponsors or modeling agencies and stuff like that. So I think quite a lot of the boys would like to be in his position, or would like to have a bit of what he has, So we do try to take care of ourselves quite a lot. I mean, because you don't want to be in a team where everyone's good looking and you're got messy hair, So you don't want to be the odd one out. So yeah, the boys do kind of like a bit of the, the fashion stuff. So yeah.
I got something to show you here. Eh? Tell me what you think about this.
That looks like the Backstreet Boys.
Oh no!
What do you think about this?
It's not bad. Was this like for like a magazine or something?
Yes, so we got contacted by a magazine, and we did not know what we were going to expect. Like they said, come over, we'll put some makeup on you, take some photos. And when we got there, they said it was going to be like that, and like we couldn't say no, like we had to do it. So,
Well, I mean, it looks pretty professional. You guys look very comfortable.
Yeah, it
I would
does,
be
it
so
is.
awkward having to do that with mates, you know.
yeah, it
like,
is. It was pretty awkward.
Not for me, but
Captain wouldn't let that slide in the South African team, I reckon.
I mean, if they want to do it, you know, I just don't have to see it. It's okay. But it's not for me.
Big thing in Hong Kong is to come and get like a custom-made suit when you're here, because you can get them for a fraction of the price, say back in Europe or for the United States. So,
Getting ready for your wedding, or
not yet. My sister's getting married first, so get ready for hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just handy to have, you know, and be
Yeah.
able to do it. So yeah, keeping the fashion alive, and
Obviously.
I think the lads were looking fresh and
They
getting
were,
themselves ready.
especially because in Spain, in May, there's a thing called Feria de Sevilla. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like a fair in Seville, and it's like a very, very big holiday where everyone in Spain goes there, and you have to wear a suit. So it's handy if you have it. If you get it here done, it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Yeah, maybe we'll get an invite next year.
Hopefully.
Bring my suit. Impi, you touched earlier on becoming a father. Congratulations. That was just post Vancouver.
yeah, literally, 7 days after Vancouver, 2nd of March.
Oh, okay, I'm 5th of March birthday.
Oh,
Great time of year.
very close. Good
And-
month.
Fantastic month. And your wife, she's American, based in America?
Yes, she's American, currently still in America. So we kind of do a few weeks in South Africa, a few weeks in the US, depending on where I am in the world, you know, because if I'm traveling, she would just be sitting at home in South Africa. So now we kind of decided for the past 2 years that once I'm away, she'll go back to the US and she'll just work a bit because she's a vet. So, and it's been working well for us. But now with the baby, it's changed the dynamics.
The baby was born in the United States?
Born in the US, he's got a social security number already. So he's way more advanced than I am. I'm going to be the odd one out in the family.
The green mamba chasing you hard.
Green Mamba passport, it doesn't take me anywhere except up in Africa. But
And so then, did you stay in Vancouver or go straight down to the States then? Or was that was probably
yeah,
pretty
so
easy for you?
we kind of had a little bit of an emergency procedure to be done. She had a C-section because there was some technicalities with the baby and some difficulties. And yeah, we had to deliver him by C-section. So I basically went straight from Vancouver to the US, week in the hospital with the baby came, and then I was there for about 10 days and I came back. So I had to be training that side, running around, tired, no sleep. And then I got to join the boys the week before we left, and then back in Hong Kong. So
Okay.
I've been traveling all around the world this past 2 weeks. But
MP,
I mean, it's been good. It's been such a blessing.
you're used to it anyway, no problem.
It's part of being a rugby sevens player.
Exactly.
Traveling around the world, not sleeping much.
Well, fair enough. Congratulations again. It's so fantastic, and it's not something that happens with all of the teams. You know, like some teams that like it seems like they've got lots of kids, and then other teams they're younger coming up, and then it doesn't seem to affect them. So it's quite interesting to see the dynamic with different players, with different teams, and how they're able to make it happen. And then for you across 2 different continents as well is it's quite interesting.
I'm just trying to make it work as best I can. And actually chatted to Tony Nashu before I left Vancouver.
With twins.
And he was like, listen, I got twins. Like, good luck with sleeping. He's like, I didn't sleep for months. I was like, well, I'm probably going to find out very soon. Well, I did. So, yeah.
What a lot. And now captaincy with the Blitzbok. It's like such a fantastic line of captains that have been a part of that team, and even just the forwards in general. Like, how have you been finding it slipping into that role? Like, you know, Philip's been there. You've had Kyle. Then you've had like the likes of Quagga coming through playing, Frankie Horan, like just these big names obviously throughout the years. And then you're filling the boots pretty fantastically. But what is it like? Do you take a lot from them after playing with them?
Yeah,
as well?
I think as a youngster coming into the system, I had the likes of Carl Brown, Philip Slayman, you know, and back then Philip was captain, and just before he took over from Carl, so a lot of wisdom shared from Carl. We're also quite close. We live in the same little estate, and he's just shared a lot of input and just some little things, little cues here and there. Also just to connect with younger players because we're from different generations, and obviously having Coach Phil, that's probably South Africa's most successful sevens captain, the way that he treats people, the way that he sees different situations, and his people skills are quite decent as well. So to be able to learn from those guys, and just kind of take it and also mold in my own personality with that. I'm quite a strict guy in terms of my own discipline. So sometimes I might be a little harsh, or the way I say something might come over a little bit harsh. So I'm also trying to work and find my own way of leading, and being co-captain with Selvin also helps, because he also he resonates better with some of the other players in the team, where I resonate a little bit more with the guys that are maybe a bit more disciplined and strict in how they do things, where other guys, they kind of need to be given a little more leverage, and they'll find their own way to do things. So it's been amazing, massive privilege, firstly, to be able to captain this side, and it's been a good season so far.
So the name Impi obviously means warrior.
Yes.
So very much falling into that warrior leadership then.
I mean, I'm trying. I've busted my face a few times, so I guess I've played enough for the team. But still got a couple of years in me to go.
And then traveling around with the HSBC World 7 Series, bump into the likes of Bryan Habana. Like, do you see him much around on tour, or is it someone that you would ever connect with or chat with, or just kind of see him and say hello?
We don't see him too much during the week, but I think over the weekends, at the tournament, we kind of see him a few times, and he's always such a great guy to bump into and just have a quick chat with. Super friendly guy, as you would know. He's always got time for people, and just a really great guy to be around. So and for him also to have played for this team, and the legend that he is just amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And like lights up a room as soon as he comes
He
in.
does. He's got that warm personality, just be able to bring the best out of people.
Yeah. So speaking of Bryan Habana, we caught up with him ahead of this week's action.
Okay, sync clap. Life on tour with Harry McNulty.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, really, to be honest with you.
Life on tour with Harry McNulty. I mean, nothing gets better than that, right?
Well, Bryan, thank you very much for coming and joining us today.
So good.
Welcome to Hong Kong.
Oh, how good to be back. How good to be at this magnificent precinct. I must say, it's blown me away. I've literally been in for just under 12 hours, and our hotel is right next door. And the social posts that everyone's been putting on, yourself included, just don't do it justice. Don't do it. It very much looks like my my Uber purple Tesla that I drove in from the stadium yesterday, to be honest.
Yeah.
From the airport, but it's pretty epic.
Yeah, Kai Tak Sports Park is phenomenal. It's got big boots to fill in terms of the festivities over the weekend, but I think it's doing pretty well so far. So we'll kick things off. You are a seasoned vet across the 15s, even across the 7s, both sides on and off the field. Can you tell us a bit about your first 7 season and how that experience went?
I don't even think you were born in 2004, Harry McNulty. 2004, so 21-year-old, I was actually sort of coming up through the ranks in South Africa at the Lions back then, and got an opportunity through Chester Williams, who'd been sort of upgraded to the Cats coach, and left the opening position for Paul True to sort of take the interim coaching job.
I've heard a lot about Paul.
Back in 2004, and my first 2 tournaments were Wellington and Los Angeles back in January, I think 2004. First ever time the HSBC 7 circuit had gone to the States. My first tournament in Wellington, which was the epicenter of Rugby 7s, it was almost as good as Hong Kong, but back in the days, Paul True was not very pragmatic on giving youngsters experience. So as a newbie, I only got 7 minutes in Wellington. I started against Tonga, which was probably the worst game to start against. And the Pacific Island boys are just abrasive, right? They're just brutal. Sort of played center, and just before half time, I kicked the ball through from the halfway line, which in 7s, as much as the Springboks are renowned for being the team that kicks the most, you just don't kick in 7s. So I kicked the ball through. Daniel Diamas, unfortunately, literally over the try line, went through his hands. Turnover, 7-5 into halftime, we lead. And I get absolutely spewed at in the circle. And I'm like, what have I done wrong? Like, we're still in the lead. We end up losing that game 10-7. I don't play for the rest of the tournament. We got to the final in that tournament, but I didn't get to play for the rest of the tournament. Next week in LA, really excited, really pumped up to maybe get a bit more game time, and didn't find myself on day 1 in any team. And then day 2, last game was against like Uruguay or Paraguay. Came off the bench. My first action off the bench was kicking off, kicked directly into touch from that ensuing free kick, high tackle, yellow card, that was 10 minutes of sevens done and dusted for me in 2004. It was pretty brutal. And then I got back to South Africa. I was like, nah, I mean, if I'm only going to play 10 minutes across 2 tournaments, what's the point of doing this game? And then stuck with 15s. And yeah, that was sevens done and dusted for 12 years.
Wow. That's quite the intro and exit.
So, I mean, intro and exit, and then re-entry 12 years later, trying for Rio Olympics. So, I mean, I don't have many records at all in the game of sevens, given the fact that I've only played 4 tournaments. But a record that I'm not too proud of, it took me 12 years to register my first try in rugby sevens. So yeah, scored with my first touch back in Vegas in 2016, which was very different from 2004, but it was a pretty brutal baptism of fire in 2004.
Okay, so I have one up you on the 7th
No,
series.
well,
I scored a try quicker than Bryan Habana did
I
in
mean,
his
you've
career
got
of
more.
sevens.
You scored a try, you've gone to 2 Olympics. I mean, I absolutely failed abysmally at going to Rio 2016, missing out on a bronze medal, which the Springboks ended up getting. So, on the game of sevens, Harry, but we won't play the 15s card because I think I've got 1 or 2 on you there.
Yeah, I'm working on it still. I think I've got a bit of time.
I literally just did Wellington and Los Angeles, and then decided this game of sevens is not really for me. Back then, it wasn't as professional as it is now, so it was almost like if you didn't make a Super Rugby team, or you weren't really in a progressive line of development to play Super Rugby, sevens was sort of the thing you did. And for me, I really wanted to have a full crack at the game of 15s because it was my under-21 Rugby World Cup year, so I was in the squad and I just tried to make a big impetus there. So yeah.
So Hong Kong, you came here
2019 for the first time.
And how was that experience? Like, what did you know or hear about before you first arrived in Hong Kong?
So very fortunate and privileged to have been inducted into the Red Polo HSBC gang in Dubai in 2018, and obviously I'd only heard the incredible stories of don't get caught by the Hong Kong Dragon, Lang Kwai Fong, don't go out. I heard about Brian O'Driscoll's his first tournament crowd surfing with the Red Hot Chili Pipers, I think it was. So I came in with a lot of trepidation, just how to manage and balance the energy output and energy intake, because you just saw it on TV and there was just so many good things. And in my first year, I got to dot the I's of the Dragon in the opening ceremony, which was myself, Shane Williams, and Michael Johnson, were the 3 of us that dotted the I's, and that was just epic. And then to actually get to live in person the experience, all the talk, all the chatter, all the things people tell you, just get so much outweighed because it is just an absolutely brilliant experience. From experiencing having to chug a beer at the South Stand, to experiencing this incredibly multicultural diversity from people all around the world, flocking to Hong Kong. And 2019 was as epic a tournament as I've ever experienced, and then getting to witness, I think Fiji won that year, the rain and the iconic moments from my youth of the Jonah Lomas, the Wasale Serevis, gracing this tournament, the US van der Westhuizens. So to then get to experience it for the very first time was absolutely epic.
Well, I've had my share in the South Stand as well. It's
bonkers.
You can only live it. You can never explain it.
You can never explain it. And I mean, for me, obviously, when you go into the HSBC Hex Suite or you go into the private suites, it's very different. To then get to experience people standing in a queue for like 5 to 6 hours just to have the privilege of sitting this. I'm like, that South Stand's not that good at seating, but to see the absolute carnage and mayhem, beers being thrown, cups being propelled and trajected all across the South Stand, the music, the vibes, the dancing, the gear, the costumes. It is, to your point, all the talk cannot explain it until you've experienced it in person.
So if this is someone's first time coming to Hong Kong, South Stand, all of the above, do you have any tips?
So my main tip would be to really understand that Hong Kong Sevens is a marathon and not a sprint. So hydration becomes a very key factor, and the right hydration, particularly if you're in the South Stand. So water across the course of the weekend, whether in a funnel or in a jug, at certain points throughout the course of the day is going to be incredibly important. If you have not packed in fancy dress, don't even come. just stay outside. Don't come, because Hong Kong Sevens and the Sevens in general is renowned for this absolutely party atmosphere. I think last year's epic was Hulk Hogan, that we got to see in the South Stand ripping that vest. I'm hoping he's got a crack. I'm hoping he's bought a new vest for this year. His white Oakleys were extremely impressive. But yeah, the South Stand is as epic as it gets, right? So hydration is important. It is not a sprint. And unfortunately, as exciting and as fast-paced and exhilarating as the game of sevens is, on the pitch, everything is as fast as you get. But you need to make sure you pace yourself. And the biggest word of advice, do not let the Hong Kong Dragon eat you whole.
You heard it here first from Bryan Habana. He's got it all sorted. Now, this is your first time here in Kai Tak Sports Park, for all of us as well. First impressions.
So when we were here last year and there was talks of the stadium's nowhere close to even starting its foundations or being built, there was a lot of hesitation about whether we were actually going to be at this precinct in 2025. So even from a player's perspective, players weren't sure, is it the last time they're going to be at the Seven Stadium, in Causeway Bay? And then you see the posts of what the stadium looks like, and then you get here, and I woke up this morning, opened my hotel room curtains, and you just saw this absolute phenomenal futuristic stadium. And I've been very fortunate to play at some great stadiums in the world. This very much reminds me of going to the new stadium in Dunedin. That's not only futuristic but purpose built for a specific reason. And yes, the Seven Stadium, that is just so legacy entrenched, that so many iconic moments happened at, will always be special for the game of sevens, for Hong Kong as a country. But looking towards the future and embracing this unexpected world of opportunity, and there's just so much more that this environment, this precinct offers. And as great as the walk down from the stadium to Causeway Bay was, and like Lang Kwai Fong, this is something different and something new. But I think in the progression of development of the modern game, particularly from a player perspective, I'll never forget one of the teams, the Springboks teams in about 2006 or 7. Like, their jerseys actually got stolen before a final in the Seven Stadium.
No.
Yeah. you know what that stadium was. And yes, they'd sort of developed it a little bit, but it's absolute mayhem and carnage logistically, putting it on. So this is very much more progressive in terms of its capabilities for hosting a tournament as big as Rugby Sevens, men's and women's now, and being specific about how you actually develop logistics for the players becomes the most important, because the players are giving you the product out in the field. So giving them an environment to really thrive in becomes key. And the South Stand is institutional in Hong Kong Sevens, so it's going to be pretty interesting. But having this little viewing deck onto the iconic skyline that is Hong Kong is as good as it comes.
Absolutely brilliant. And it is a massive part to play in the development of the HSBC 7 Series as a whole.
Yeah.
But then the sport of sevens itself is a really important aspect in terms of developing rugby players.
Yeah.
Not just not just sevens players
just in general,
for the rest of their career, but for 15s players as well. How important do you believe it is for the game of rugby?
So for me, by the fact that I've had personal experience playing the game of sevens, I think there's such incredible developmental role that it provides. What it has become is its own unique silo. We've seen a few crossovers. I tried and failed. We saw Sonny Bull, we saw Quade Cooper, Liam Messam started out with me in 2004. We've seen the likes of Ches and Colby, Kirtley Orense going from the Springboks and winning World Cups. Quagga Smith, is exactly the same. So there is, I think, a limited number of hybrids that can do both sports. We've seen Anton Dupont come in and win an Olympic gold medal. Ilona Myers become an absolute global superstar, using the sevens platform to propel her to astronomical heights, which has been brilliant. We've seen the likes of a Maddie Levi, a Charlotte Kazlik, Marcus Moneta, Argentina, who's not even really in a Super Rugby tournament. These guys come here and absolutely thrive on the seventh circuit. So is it an important silo or ecosystem within the game of rugby? 100%. The likes of HSBC have played an incredibly important role in its constant development and growth and progression. Becoming an Olympic sport has been absolutely key for the game of sevens. Just knowing that there is this 4-year cycle of getting towards something. World Cups are great in the sevens environment, but being a part of the biggest sporting spectacle in the world in Olympics, you've had the privilege and fortune of doing it twice. There's nothing like it in the game of rugby. Rugby World Cups for the 15 format is great, but rubbing shoulders in a sort of village with some of the best athletes the world has ever seen is just something bar none. And for me, sevens is just so beautiful. A lot of what's for a very multicultural, diverse environment. There's no other sport in the world where you have anywhere between 10 to 20 nations in a stadium celebrating a sport.
Yeah.
The way the Kenyans, thrive in their dancing, their singing. The Fijians are all over the world bringing their passion, their energy. And you have people flocking from every corner in the world to sevens tournaments, no matter which continent they're on.
Yep.
And that's brilliant. That's something you don't get in any other format of the game. And hopefully there is just so much more longevity for the sport. We've seen some absolute superstars coming from it. Ches and Colby, this SA Rugby Player of the Year, 8 years on from leaving the games of sevens or playing in that Rio Olympics in 2016. So yeah, a really important part, and hopefully we can get more sponsors on board, more eyeballs on the sport, because it really is an absolutely beautiful silo within our ecosystem.
The names, once you just start thinking about it, even a small bit, the names just start coming back. It's like, actually, wow, it's created such superstars. And people forget so quickly.
Yeah, people forget so quickly. I mean, Jonah Lomu, yes, 95, he exploded onto the scene, but he was playing sevens as an 18-year-old, thriving. Wasali Serebi made the Hong Kong sevens tournament his own right. That Fijian flair was just phenomenal. And you look at this tournament specifically within the ecosystem of sevens, and the heritage, the history, the legacy is something that, yes, the past was great, but it almost propels you to what the future opportunity can potentially be. And I think for us, this is something new. Is it unexpected? No, but it is something that you have to embrace. I think each and every player has to embrace the opportunity that is presented with them. And like I say, it's iconic, and a platform to springboard to hopefully great things for so many sevens players out there.
A lot of big things to come. Well, speaking of all of the South African players, Ches and Colby, Curly Yarns, let's jump into the Springboks team.
Yeah.
Moving into the 15s. One of the biggest characters, it seems, isn't actually the players, it's Rassie Erasmus.
Is he in your head?
I think he might be in my head. Very good.
Rassie. Sorry, I had to. It's not because you're Irish, Harry McNulty.
It's okay. It's okay. We got there already. You've got your World Cups, Brian. It's all right. You're very much in my head at the moment. But he stepped back as from the coaching role, technically in 23 after the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup. Have you had much dealings with Rassie over the years? Do you know him quite well? And what makes Rassie Rassie?
Yeah, so I think firstly as a player, so I unfortunately never got to play against Rassie. So Rassie ended in 2004, and I mean had a phenomenal playing career both for the Cheetahs, the Cats, and the Springboks. But like just listening to a lot of people that played with him, he was probably very much ahead of his era, in terms of analysing games, sort of being progressive, of thinking differently about strategies. 2005 was the first time I sort of come up against him as a coach. The Bulls played against the Cheetahs in a Currie Cup final, and we had a Springbok-laden Bulls team, the likes of myself, Bucky Sporter, Victor Matfield, Fourie du Preez, Wynand Willefeed, Johan Roots.
Sounds like you're naming the VIP in Cafe Caprice on a Sunday.
Derek Hougaard, Mornay Steyn, and we were gonna easily run that. It was at Loftus, at Pretoria, home ground advantage. And the Cheetahs came out and absolutely blew us off the park, and Rassie had taken over the coaching reins. And it was in that moment that you sort of look back at his progression in the coaching structures that you think, he's always been thinking outside the box. He's always been pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits. 2007, I'll never forget, he famously, had the boards up on top Free State Stadium, directing play, and everyone was like, is there aeroplane landing? It's this guy directing things for. And then actually in 2000, people talk about his involvement in SA Rugby. I'll never forget, 2007, we had a sort of training leg ahead of the World Cup. Jake White took like a sort of second string side over to Australasia for the away leg of the Tri-Nations. And Rassie Erasmus was actually our sort of coach in that period ahead of the World Cup. So he'd been pulled into the ranks at SA Rugby. And then took over as the Stormers, director of rugby, and really had an incredible progression of building a team up who got to their first ever Super Rugby. So he actually signed me to Western Province in 2000 and in 2009. 2011 he was with us in New Zealand for the World Cup and in the backroom staff. 2015 he was already at SA Rugby, working the magic behind the scenes, and went to Munster for a 8-month stint, I think, and then at a
I think it was meant to be longer, but
It was meant to be longer, but got the opportunity after a very dark time in South African rugby history where things didn't go well, and took over the squad from Alistair Coetzee in 2018, and the rest is history. Is he out there? 100%. Is he pragmatic? 120%. Is he innovative? 130%. And will he get in your head? 200%.
Yeah.
And I think what he's done, how he's really been blunt. Sometimes people don't always agree with his approaches, and the only thing you really can measure him on is his success. And the fact that the Springboks are back-to-back world champions, if that doesn't speak anything for his resume or CV, nothing will.
Are they your favourites for 2027 in Australia?
Ooh, tough call. I think as a South African, to do something that's never been done, firstly win back-to-back World Cups, but to go 3 in a row, and just looking at what Rassie has already started creating. So I mean, this year alone, I think he's brought a group of between 50 and 60 players together in progression for a next cycle of of 3 years. And you look at the likes of a Ebenezer Siakalisi, Peter Steptoe, Jesse Krill, Handré Pollard, Damon Dalendi, double World Cup winners that are probably going to be 35, 36. Dion Fourie was 38, winning a Rugby World Cup. I mean, it's crazy in 2023. So do I believe that Rassie being in charge, he's brought back Felix Jones, who had a quick stint in England. So he's been very thorough in his thinking and his approach. And if there is anyone that can go 3 in a row, it is probably under Rassie's tutelage that the Springboks can do it. But then looking at the likes of an Ireland, of France, New Zealand are never out the mix. 2023 was a classic example of people had written the All Blacks off, and all of a sudden they're playing in a final. And bounce of the ball, a card, situation could have changed things dramatically. So, am I going to back the Springboks to win? 100%. Is In Your Head going to be played at Stadia around Australia? I really do hope so. And is Rassie the right man currently to be taking the Springboks on that journey? I definitely believe so.
Fantastic. Well, before they play Zombie on this sound check, let's wrap things up. Brian, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate all of your insights. Stay safe over the weekend. Enjoy.
I haven't got your sites visits for Hong Kong. You need to upload it. Have you done it already?
I have a few, but I'll get them out today specifically for you.
Please update them.
Cheers.
Cheers, big guy.
Right.
So this section is called Life is Rarely a Straight Line, where we chat to the players about the tough times on and off the field and how they dealt with them and who helped them through those tough times. So, Jeremy, not the most Spanish sounding of players, but you've grown up around the world, multicultural, trilingual, as far as
Trilingual, yes.
Trilingual. So you've moved around quite a bit. I moved around quite a bit when I was younger, but you're coming from a rugby country that wouldn't per se be known for that much rugby, but then you've gone over to France to try and make a name for yourself in younger clubs going through that. So what was that like growing up, trying to move around as well as become a professional rugby player?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they always tell us in Spain that if you want to play at the highest level of rugby possible, probably the best option is to move to France to play, because obviously professional rugby in France is probably one of the top levels in the world. So when I was 18 or 19, I got called up to play in Brive in France for the under-23 side. And I was there for 2 seasons, and that was, I mean, the first year was pretty tough for me in terms of family and stuff, because obviously it's the first year you move outside your house. And I was there for 2 seasons, and then I got the call up to come to play sevens here. So it was quite a tempting decision either to stay in France to pursue my dreams of being a professional rugby player in France, or come to Spain and play sevens with Spain and hopefully qualify for the Olympics. So I was thinking about it, and I finally took the decision to come down to Spain to play with the boys, and probably the best decision I've made.
Fantastic. And in terms of that support that you had around you, so your family were living back in Spain, you went to France yourself, and then you just had to try and figure it out and just have the comms with the family. And
I mean, I chatted to my family and to a few of the boys who were playing in the squad, which I already knew from like the under-20s and stuff. And they convinced me, man. My family told, my dad told me, who also is a rugby fan, he told me if he was me, he would have picked sevens. So, and that's what I did.
Fantastic. And you came across another sevens player for the French team Grandidier,
Yeah.
your time in Brive.
Yeah.
So that's quite a small world,
Yeah.
for rugby. But how is that now, kind of having another friend across the series?
Yeah, I mean it was a coincidence. I mean, when I was in Brief playing, I remember Aaron coming back from like the tournaments and stuff, and I got along with him quite well because he spoke English as well. So like when he came back from tournaments, I used to go to his house and he used to chat me about how things were and stuff, and it really made me want to play sevens as well. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, fantastic. And Impi, we've been chatting about the newborn, how tough that's been, but I want to get into it even more because you live up to your name. You are the warrior. You break your nose, you get stitches, all that. But is that nothing in comparison so far to being away now, first time on tour with the newborn and not being able to be home supporting?
Yeah, it was pretty tough to say goodbye to them at the airport and kind of leave them behind, especially my wife, knowing that she's got all the responsibilities now of taking care of him, and I'm not there to just help feed during the night and just, get him to sleep and stop crying. And so, yeah, it's been really tough to say goodbye to them, but, somebody has to pay the bills. So we have to come and do this, even though it's fun. But yeah, I think just for my wife, it's a little bit tough to leave them, and just to see her also struggling now at the moment, just to hear the emotions, it's running high. So yeah, I think that eats at me a little bit, but, I just kind of have to shift my focus to this weekend, and then once that's over, once Singapore's over, I can focus to being a dad again. So
Play hard, do it for them, show them what it's all about, and give them something to cheer about for the weekend.
definitely.
And then when you come home, it's hugs and kisses for everybody, hey?
Well, hopefully, and maybe not for my wife, because she's going to say she had to play mom and dad at the same time. But yeah, just trying to contribute and do my part. Not that I can do much with a newborn, but just to help wherever I can.
We'll jump into camp life now. Just give everybody a sense of what it's like to kind of be on tour with. Like, we got into the whole boy band style.
Yeah.
Like what we see you guys going around in the city. Like Manu's hanging out of a taxi yesterday, doing a selfie, and it looks like you guys love to get on like the bikes and go around.
Yeah.
But is there anything kind of behind the scenes in camp that maybe teams don't really see? France used to have like the dances that they do after tournaments and stuff like that. Do Spain have anything kind of behind closed doors that you get up to? Or is it just everything's on socials and just take it for what it is?
No, I mean, I would say we do quite a lot of stuff behind the cameras. I think one thing we do quite a lot is we love playing a card game. I mean, we can literally sit around the table and play for like 4 hours non-stop. So it's a game called Mus. It's Spanish, so I doubt any of you guys would know what it is. So yeah, I'd say card games, and yeah, that's about it, man. I mean, everything, like, we have to say the boys do like to post on social media a lot. So a lot of the things we do, they do post most of it. But I'd say like playing card games and watching movies, for example. We like to watch movies together. I'd say those are the two main things we do behind the cameras.
Movie night on tour.
Yes, movie night on tour. We tend to watch 2 movies per week. So we would watch one tonight, and we'd watch like a motivating movie on Wednesday, so tomorrow, to get pumped for the game.
Maybe you need to bring that in, Impi.
Well, we actually had movie nights back in the day, but yeah, we also had movie nights on Friday nights, which was quite nice. Just before, back when it was 2-day tournaments, just to kind of relax, settle down, get your mind off rugby. But now we just play 30 seconds, which is a game. I don't know if you know 30 seconds. So it's a board game back in South Africa, and you basically divide up in teams. So we always go forwards versus backs. And then you have a little timer, 30 seconds, and then one guy needs to explain whatever is written on the card, and without saying the actual word, and then you have to try and get as many right as you can. And it's always a forwards versus back, and I have to say the forwards have been pretty dominating. So we'll just keep it at that. The backs will probably give me some.
Who would be pretty good at it then? Who would you be like, I want that guy on my team? Like, I would need him on tour for 30 seconds.
I would say Ryan is pretty decent.
He's a good actor, isn't he?
Shakes. Well. So you can do it verbally. So it's not you can actually speak. Say words and explain whatever it is without. Sometimes if you have the specific word relates to something that we personally share, and then I can just say that, and you exactly know what it is. So Ryan's quite good. Shakes also not bad. Zayn surprisingly also, but he sometimes a bit aggressive in how he explains things because people get so excited about it. But yeah, it's all good fun. Salvin's also not bad. So yeah, we got a couple of guys because it's basically general knowledge about mostly South African things, but also big people around the world, things, destinations, whatever. Land,
PC Changs.
PC Chags,
So Jeremy,
Yep.
kind of a bit of the similar background to myself. You were born in Lebanon. I was
Yeah.
born in Bahrain. Moved around as kids, and then you also love to cook. I love to
Yeah.
cook as well. I try and take a bit from everywhere that I've traveled to try and replicate those meals when I come home. So, what was that like growing up in different parts of the world? And is that something that you've taken into your cooking as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an interesting story. I mean, so obviously my dad met my mum in Lebanon, and that's where I was born. And then I moved to Kuwait when I was about 1, and then back down to Spain when I was about 3. So I can't remember much from when I was there, but I definitely do know how to cook something because my mum keeps cooking Lebanese food, which is so nice. And she makes it all homemade because there's like a Lebanese food store next to my house. So yeah, I mean, when I do cook, I like to cook for the boys at home because I live with 2 of my teammates. So I'm most likely, I'm nearly all the time the chef of the house. So I try to make Lebanese food sometimes, but mostly it's just typical chicken and rice and broccoli kind of thing,
If you had to pick a dish that you would say is one of your best or your favorite, what would that be to cook?
Oof, I'd probably say I make a very, very nice salmon with sweet potato. It's very, very nice. We eat sweet potato like every day. I mean, it is simple, but I have the perfect spot for it. I'm perfect temperature, perfect time in the oven. I think it's really
Quite
good.
methodical about your cooking then.
Yeah, exactly. I have it all timed perfectly.
Are you a bit of a chef, Impi, or?
I mean, if we have some wood going, a braai, that's always beats anything else. And we don't get the proper braai here, so yeah, I do love a little braai over the weekend. Lamb chops, can't beat it. With a braai broodjie, I don't know if you're the one.
The big sausage in the circle?
No,
that
it's
one?
it's like a
Or is it the bread?
toasted sandwich, but
Yes,
you make it a specific way. So put some chutney in it, which is like a local sauce back home, and some onion, tomato, cheese. So just put it on the grill, on the coals, and decent.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah,
Great.
probably not the best food for an athlete, but got to enjoy life as well.
Exactly.
You work hard enough, Impi. I think you deserve a few of them. Great. So we've got some community questions.
Yeah.
So we've asked on socials, what questions do they want to know about the players on tour? So we've got a very, very quick fire round, I've been told. So coming from Wow Rugby _ Wow Organic, what should Spain and other countries, including Ireland, so mainly countries that probably don't have as much of a sevens history, do to promote the sevens game?
So I think nowadays, obviously, everything is shown on social media. So I think social media is probably one of the best ways to promote sevens. And I think we normally think about it as a team and say the better we perform, the more it's going to be shown on social media. So I would say it is in our hands as well. So we have got, it's not pressure, but we try to perform well, not only for us, but also so sevens is shown more in Spain. And bit by bit, rugby in Spain is getting a bit more known because, for example, the 15s aside, they just qualified for the World Cup, which obviously is very, very good for the country. So yeah, I would say posting it as much as on social media as much as possible. Maybe getting interviewed by sports magazines and stuff like that. So yeah.
Fantastic. Tiger Fitness BC has asked for both of you, which is the best sevens city that you visited?
I think for me it's home, Cape Town. Yeah, just beautiful, and home crowd is always an advantage. So
The mother city.
have to go with Cape Town.
Fantastic. So
I'd probably say either Hong Kong or Cape Town, man. I loved Cape Town. We played South Africa in the semi-finals there. It was insane. The amount of people, the noise, you couldn't even hear. I was trying to chat to my teammate in the line out. I couldn't hear what you were saying, the noise there. Plus, apart from that, the city is I love it, man. The beaches, everything. Really loved Cape Town.
great. I think that's one of my favorites as well here.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong and Cape Town, just two fantastic cities for
Yeah.
both rugby and not.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
brilliant. Rugby sevens SA. Impi, how did you balance studying engineering and playing rugby?
It's a difficult one. I don't think there's a very simple answer to it, but luckily for me, in my first season I was with the Blitzboks, I got a big ankle injury, so I was able to go to class a little bit more than usual. And I only had to finish 1 year of my studies before I, became a sevens player. Because luckily before that I was still playing university rugby, a little bit of age group rugby, for the Blue Bulls. But yeah, it was basically a lot of discipline, a lot of late nights, early mornings, skipping, parties, temptations. I think you have to be very focused if you want to be a student and an athlete at the same time. And I think everyone will tell you that you have to sacrifice either your sleep or your friendships or going out having a few drinks with friends. So, I mean, there's times for it, but you kind of have to be very disciplined for a very long time. So I think for me, I kind of just didn't have a way out because rugby was paying for me to study. So if I failed at one of them, I was failing at both of them. So I kind of did not have a way out, and that forced me to go through with it.
That was the SAS program.
No. I was purely a student at the University of Pretoria, and played a bit for the Blue Bulls, which is Blue Bulls Rugby Union, and then from there on, got recruited to do the Varsity Cup, actually, our university tournament. And then the rest is history.
Fantastic. Zach Ward, you remember Zach Ward playing for Ireland? He wants to know, because he knows that you're an avid golfer, you like your golf, how many shots would you have to give Hugo Lennox in order to be able to beat him in an 18-hole match? You can have a dig at Hugo now for this.
Is he... Do you know how he golfs?
I think he's quite a good golfer.
I mean, he seems like he can play golf because obviously he's a sweeper, so he's got some ball sense. I mean, I don't know. He would probably have to give me some shots.
You reckon?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe I can outdrive him here and there. We'll see. But maybe I play off like a 13, 14 realistically. I'm not the best golfer, but I'm not terrible. So maybe it could be a good match.
It'd be a great matchup.
Yeah, maybe we need to give Zach like 15 shots.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give Zach 15. Yeah, and then you guys can play even.
Yeah, seems like he's taking him out on a dig, for no reason. So.
Perfect. Lads, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of HSBC Life on Tour. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, getting to know you a lot more. Lots of great answers, and best of luck on the weekend. I'm looking forward to supporting you, potentially from the South Stand. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.